Okay, well, it is time for Tao of the Day. I don't, I don't know if this is something I'm going to be doing every day, but I really enjoy doing it, and so I wanted to come on and do it again. This is something that I do want to do regularly. I don't know how regularly. I don't. Who knows? But if you have a number between 1 and 81, come on, join me and pick a number between 1 and 81, and we will talk about the Tao Te Ching. The Tao is the canon of reason. If you want to learn a little bit about how to reason through your life, the Tao is a perfect place to do it. I am coming out of recovery. I got 20 plus years clean and sober, and the Tao has been a backbone of that recovery, just understanding how things work and how my life is panning out. And it's so much insight, so much insight. Oh my God. So if you are out there and want to have a conversation about some insightful shit, if you are out there and are frustrated and trying to figure out what you're going to do today, come on, join me, pick a number between 1 and 81, and let's dispel like the wisdom of the Tao Te Ching. I am such a fan. I want to be able to present this regularly, maybe not every day, but I can spend some time doing it, you know. So we'll see. If I do it every day, I do it every day. If I don't, well then that is just the way it goes. How's everybody doing today? I am doing really well. I don't know. I feel good. I feel good. Been up for a couple hours now. Well, I guess 5. So yeah. Been making the rounds. No coffee, even though I'm pretty excited, feeling pretty good. But if you have a number between 1 and 81 you want to pick, come on, join me. All you gotta do is hit that little button and that purple circle, and you join me, and then you pick a number. Yesterday we went through a number of numbers, as I will do. Like, I think I got the timer set for 15 minutes, so you can come and we can break down one of these chapters. I'm gonna go ahead and pick a number. Actually, I picked a number earlier, and it was brilliant for what I needed today. This morning, I was having an exchange with somebody, and I went back to my past in my body. You know how that happens? Like, you can be doing something, and then all of a sudden you get reminded of something, and you start going through the motions in your mind of how you used to be. Well, I'm coming out of addiction. Everybody knows that I talk about recovery and all this sort of stuff. Well, I also had an addiction with gambling. So I had a behavioral addiction around gambling, and I used to go to the track, and I was expressing some things about that, and my body, even right now, I can feel my body wanting to go back to that. But I'm gonna stay here and be present in this moment, just feel that come up and let that go. But with all of that I experienced this morning, I picked number 47 of the Tao, just to see, and I want you to recognize, oh, was it 47? Because I'm reading it now, and it is not 47. Yes, it was 45. I picked 45. I thought I remembered correctly, but I didn't. So if you are out there and you have a number between 1 and 81, come on, we'll talk about your Tao for the day. My Tao this morning, when I was in this kind of troubled spot in my head, was number 45, which reads, "True perfection seems imperfect, yet it is perfectly itself." This is sort of the line that I derived my quote, "Don't let your definition of perfection rob you of yours," right? True perfection seems imperfect, yet it is perfectly itself. True fullness seems empty, yet it is fully present. And that was an important thing for me, right? Like, true fullness seems empty, where it's like when you can be full of everything, you can actually let go of everything. But what was happening when I was going through that process this morning of thinking about my old gambling days, like, I was filled with the feeling of being filled, but I was increasingly empty. So this line, true fulfillment seems empty, yet it is fully present. And that was the thing, right? Like, you can feel empty, but be here in this moment. And that was such a great reminder for me. So I'm reading chapter 45 of the Tao, which is my choice for the Tao, for my Tao of the day. And I do want to bring other folks on. Catherine is coming on. She's going to pick another Tao. So yeah, we can continue going through that if I get another lull. But Catherine is joining me.
Hello!
Hello. Welcome to another Tao of the day.
Excellent. Well, I do Oracle and Tarot at night to clear my day. So now I'm doing Tao of the day to get my day moving in the right direction. You've become a new habit for me.
Well, that's great. I'm glad I'm here for you.
You're
And
my
do you,
fan. Number
what's your number?
8.
8. 8 is a good number. I don't know why, but it's always got the two round thing. It's such a beautiful number.
8 is like a dining room table. It has the 4 legs on either end and it's very stable.
Yes. Oh. And that's okay, so here we go. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It is content with the low places that people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. In dwelling, live close to the ground. In thinking, keep to the simple. In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, try not to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be completely present. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. Whoa.
Nice.
Like that ended like that everybody will respect you. Right? Like what, like I didn't know that was where it was going, right? But it was like this, it was this like this whole thing, it seems to me, and I'd love to get your take on it, about like being humble in the face of your own greatness.
Ah, interesting.
Because it starts with the supreme good is like water. And that's like supreme good. That is the goodness within each of us. And that is supreme.
I mean, our bodies are mostly water.
Right.
Mm.
And it nourishes all things without trying to. Right? Like water is just present and it's nourishing its surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do.
Yeah, and the next line is it has simple or simplicity in it, doesn't it?
It is content to the low places that people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. So what that, like, go on. Do you have
Yeah,
thoughts?
well, the word simple came out somewhere in there, which is one of the things I always say to people, like keep it simple, and then
Yeah.
ask yourself, can I make it simple? And then can I make it simple again? And then can I make it simple one more time? And that's one of the things I really do, which is interesting. I woke up today feeling like, oh man, it's like Groundhog Day. I get up, the computer.
So yeah,
I'm
so the
doing great.
line, the line that references simple is in thinking, keep it simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's to me, it is about stay creative. Don't get caught in because I feel like I woke up feeling like, oh my God, it's Groundhog Day again.
Yeah.
Oh, I need a break from this. And that just reminded me, like, we like continue to do like this. Wisdom allows me to be myself while speaking to people instead of trying to figure out how to communicate online to myself, basically.
Right.
And this allows me to interact and then allow it to be the creative process I am doing. I just feel like it's Groundhog Day. So, and keep it simple. I think I have complicated stuff a little bit lately. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is, and because you go out a lot and do good, right? Like you like your life is surrounded with helping.
Yeah.
If I'm, what's that?
It is. Yeah, it's always, I mean, I was raised that way.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's not. There's no judgment, no judgment.
Yeah,
Like,
but
yeah, like it's absolutely like just and the reason I mention it is because this again, this first line, like the supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. And what it sounds like with this Groundhog Day is that there's a lot of trying.
yeah, that's true. And also, I feel like it's about myself, and I feel like it's about my methodology helping others at the same time.
Right.
The eight. It's the way that I speak and how I help others, and it's like that reminder to myself at the same time. I feel like it describes who I am externally and is reminding me to be the same way internally.
Yeah. And here, like this next line, I'm really curious about your thoughts about this because this is a line that's vexed me for a long time. It is content with the low places that people disdain. Now when we talk about low places, we talk about people being, of the earth or people being, humble and stuff like that. But it's that the places people disdain. And I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are of that.
Well, for me, I'm extremely politically aware and savvy from geopolitically, and so I do still have my fingers and toes in what's happening policy, politically wise, all that. And people disdain that a lot and always have. And to me, I mean, I don't know, call me crazy. It's not as entertaining as it was. Well, sometimes it is entertaining. But it is just part of who I am. I find it fascinating. I like looking at everybody's point of view and hearing what they all think. And most people don't particularly like that or can't handle it, and it's difficult for them. I do enjoy, I have friends that are way on the other side from me, and having that conversation of that is something that I'm supportive of, but I want to know like what you think that it's so different than me. So I feel like that's a spot in that.
Wow. Yeah, no, I can see that. I can see that. And that really brings that brings this into a really interesting light because like we are talking about being humble like to an extent, right? Like I think that's what this is referring to. And humbleness really is being open to all possibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being open for others to have their reality while we hold ours without threat.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't allow like when I was on my Facebook last year a bit more, and I did do a lot of political stuff, and I had hardcore conservatives and hardcore left-leaning progressive on there making their own comments. And I celebrated all of them, and I said if anybody says anything mean to either side, you're out. And when I was on Wisdom the other day talking about intuition, a person came in, he said, I know this is may upset some people and you may not like this, but he talked about religion with it. And I said, no, that's fine. As long as you're respectful and you're nice and you share in a way of thoughts, I don't have a problem with it. If you get nasty, you're out.
Yes, and as we go through this, it just comes right back to in conflict, be fair and generous. Like
Mm-hmm.
you want to be generous, like to the person that you are in conflict with. You want them to have the opportunity. You don't want to get abused by giving that.
No,
You don't want to give an inch and have them take a mile and you just lay down. But you do want
and
to
I
be
don't want them
generous.
to be abused.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So go
yeah,
on.
go ahead.
No, no.
Well, I was going to say, and I think it's important to know what that line is for yourself, but I believe it is how what my energy is, how I speak, but even if I mean I wasn't speaking on Facebook, but people know that of my character. And so when they do step in that space, they know it's safe if you're going to be nice. But most
Well, It's interesting. I was talking to someone the other day about the idea that you can tell the truth to somebody, even if that truth is hard, if you're coming from a place of loving care.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're coming at it from a triggered place where you're like, I'm offended by what you're saying and I need to say something. Well, one, you are never going to say the right thing because you're triggered.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And two, why would they want to listen to that? Right? So when you can be present and just be like, hey, I'm coming from a healthy place and I'm going to say something, that information can be received. And I have done that. Like, I've been in groups of people where I lovingly said something to someone and everyone else is sitting there aghast, but the two of us understand what was said because we're communicating together.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have fired people. I have kicked people out of programs I've done. And they still call and wish me happy birthday, send me cards. I mean,
Yeah.
and this has been 20 years, like it's about being respectful in difficult situations.
Yeah. And this moves right into the next thing, like in governing. And governing, we can look at government, but we can also look at being a business owner and being
Mm-hmm.
someone who runs a business. Don't try to control.
Yes. I just had a conversation with someone last night about, she said, what are the tips you can give me about entrepreneurship? And I'm like, don't try to control everything.
Beautiful.
Let some stuff go. Let other people do it their own way that you hire, and don't try to force it. And that is one of the most difficult things I've seen in my career of working with entrepreneurs of all levels.
Yes. Yes. I
Women
mean,
are.
control. That's something that's deep. And it should be said that in my work, which revolves around recovery, control is something that many people want to. That's one of the last things people can let go of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
And it's like me for planning. Like I'm a, labeling machine, color coordinated files, spice rack, alphabetical order kind of person. My poor ex-husband was like, I'm afraid to put the towels away. I know they won't be in the right order. And letting go of planning was the best business move I ever made.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
But I have to remind myself, don't overplan. What are you doing? When you
Yeah,
explode? What's wrong with you?
right.
Yeah.
This chapter wraps up, or this verse or stanza. I never know what to call them, but it wraps up really nicely with this like this kind of twist ending. But it says like, when you are content to simply be yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you.
That is so true. We've talked about that, and
Yeah.
the rooms have talked about that lately of, how many numbers do you have? And I started to write a book and everybody else has already written one, or, whatever it is. And I talk to a lot of people. My podcast talks a lot about just be yourself. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing.
I
Um,
was on a wisdom talk earlier with one of the originals of us, Andy Scarantino, and she her thing her topic was like, comparing is silly or something to that effect. And we talked at length about the idea of comparing yourself to another human being having a completely different experience than you, and how we talked about Jerry Springer, and we talked about how like Jerry Springer and Twitter have have a direct descendants of each other, right? Like that's how we got here, right? Like through this sort of like hyper like judgment comparative media, like and Facebook and Instagram all connected to that as well.
well, and they literally are connected.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Absolutely.
literally they are connected, and that's something a little bit. Do people do, especially I find this past year and a half with so many people reaching out to start something or do something, and I'll get in the Facebook group and they're like, how come everybody else is doing it and I'm not? And I'm having such a hard time and everyone else is, I'm like, well, you know, they're different. They maybe have more time in the day. Maybe they have more technical experience you're not aware of. Maybe they have, this or that, there's a million reasons why they're doing it and you're not. And so,
And yeah, stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about it. What a great number. Thank you. I hope the rest of your day goes very, very accordingly to that, and you can keep that in your mind today. Just keep that in your mind. No comparisons, and I hope your day kind of just continues to be filled with the supreme good. So I really appreciate you coming on again and starting me off. If anybody wants to come on and give me a number between 1 and 81, we'll go through the Tao like I just did with Catherine. That is fun. And like she was talking about how she just yesterday she was struggling with some of the things that the Tao had brought up today for her, and she just picked a number, and that is how the Tao works. You get present, and it presents itself to you. And I earlier was reading 45 because I was having struggles with not being present. I was having struggles with not being present with myself at the moment, and so I was reading 5, and true perfection seems imperfect, yet it is perfectly itself. True fullness seems empty, yet it is fully present. True straightness seems crooked, true wisdom foolish. True art seems artless. That was a really great line for me when I was making art because so much of my art seemed artless. If you have a number between 1 and 81 and you want to share in your Tao of the day, give me get up here on stage or whatever we want to call this. Join me and we'll walk through a Tao together. Yeah, the true art seems artless. And I've been talking to people recently about how I think art is going to fall by the wayside. Not that people are going to stop making stuff, but I think people are going to start living art, and the desire to make it is going to tend to fall away. And the reason that is because we need art to, Picasso said, art, you make art to put a mirror up to society. I believe that was Picasso. It might have been, anyone, pick them, it's definitely not Jackson Pollock. But it might have been Salvador Dali, but he usually speaks a little more cryptic. So let's just credit Picasso for this for the time being. Catherine, maybe she knows who wrote this quote, but yeah, putting a mirror up to society. We'll get back to that as Catherine's coming on.
okay, I don't know. I was listening to you and all of a sudden the number 14 jumped in my head. So I felt like
so you're just like, I want another.
No, somebody listening or
yeah,
the number 14 needs to be heard. So
okay.
Don't know why. It just jumped in. I'm actually doing something. I was like 14. I'm like, oh my God, okay, I got stuff to do.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, if you need to drop off, I'll go ahead and read it and I'll go through it, but we can talk about it if you're present.
Well, I'll mute.
Okay. Yeah. So it says, look and it cannot be seen. Listen and it cannot be heard. Reach and it cannot be grasped. Above, it isn't bright. Below, it isn't dark. Seamless, unnameable, it returns to the realm of nothing. Form that includes all forms. Image without an image. Oh my God. I was just talking about art. Image without an image. Subtle, beyond all conception. That is like exactly what I was talking about. Like this idea that art is going to kind of fall by the wayside, and that's so beautiful that this came up. So last part of this, approach it, and what was that?
It feels like it combines your number and mine.
Yeah. Approach it, and there is no beginning. Follow it, and there is no end. You can't know it, but you can be it. At ease in your own life. Just realize where you come from. This is the essence of wisdom. Oh my God. That was so good. Like, and it ends with this is the essence of wisdom. Like, you picked the number that was like, that is going to be the Tao of wisdom. Look,
I didn't
and it
pick
can't.
it. I didn't
What?
pick it.
You
Someone,
didn't pick it. You were gifted. We were gifted this stanza or this verse, chapter, whatever. Look and it can't be seen. Listen, it can't be heard. Reach and it can't be grasped. And if you think, like, here's my take on this. If you think you're seeing it, if you think you're hearing it, if you think you're grasping it, it is not it. This is what I say when I talk to like a lot of religious folks. I'm like, if you can explain God, that's not God. Like, God is bigger than that, right? Like, there's no way. I don't care how big your book is. You are not going to grasp that which is God.
yeah, I mean, that's true.
And,
Yeah.
like our perception in these next two lines, above it isn't bright, below it isn't dark. Like our perception of like, oh, here's light, here's dark, here's above, here's below, here are all these things. And that we put labels on that have no real bearing on what's happening.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it feels like all of the conversations, all of the things that are happening in the world, and then also within wisdom right now, it encompasses all of that.
Yeah. And in our experience right now. And that's the thing, right? Like so much of this and like what you were given, this 14, you were given this in this way. You're just like, oh, I got to get back on it. I got to say 14. And there's no, there doesn't have to be a reason. It doesn't have to be, but it is connected to all that is right now. Like in our experience, both individually and as a consciousness.
My advisory board's very smart.
I really, yeah. I was so grateful for this. Seamless and unnameable. That think about what it means to be seamless, right? Like, one of the interesting things to me is our tendons and bones are connected in a way that is so seamless. And we can't emulate that in the world, right? In the world of construction. It is something that is miraculous. Like we're walking around on feet that are holding bones like our ankles, so intricate, hold our entire bodies up. And some people weigh 600 pounds.
Yeah, you think about that as it, and when you see the replacement feet or knees, they don't look right, and then they end up like you see the runners, how they have that U-shaped spring kind of.
Yeah.
That's the only way, and that looks nothing like a leg.
And that was intellectually designed, and it is beautiful. It doesn't, but the intricacy and the design of what is made naturally, it's seamless. And the thing
Yeah,
is
because
like, go on.
they can't. Though, from what I'm getting from you is if they could make a leg like ours, they could, but they can't. So the spring is as close as they can get because it is so seamless and
Right.
miracle made a leg.
And that is still very specialized to a thing, right? That
Mm-hmm.
like right like our leg, our leg is amazing. You know how a lot of people say, oh, like their knee goes backwards. Well, actually, that's not true. Like when you look at animals, their knee kind of bends back. The thing is that is their heel,
Mm-hmm.
and they're on their toes. Like if you look at a cat, the what the elbow looks like is actually the heel of the foot of the cat. They are just essentially always in second gear. It's always walking on your tiptoes.
Hmm. Yeah.
And we as humans like have this extra gear, right? If we walk and we can speed walk and we can distance run and we heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. But when we sprint, we're on our toes. That is the fastest way we can run.
Yeah.
And that is like, and I mean, it takes more energy to do that, but you can do it for shorter period of distance and you can do it for much quicker. It's such a like, and that's seamless. And like there's seamlessness in between first and second gear of a human being, right? From walking on your heel to walking on your toe. And there's seamlessness in the ankle. Like, oh my God, like I mean, there are different things, but they are connected some way. Like no one glued that shit together, you know, like the seamlessness is such a beautiful sort of word that I have, you know, and as it relates to the human body, I've been amazed by the seamlessness of the human body for a large part of my life. Unnameable, it returns to the realm of nothing. I think I've gone out on tangents, so that's falling flat for me. But form
Re-
that includes all
realm.
forms. Go on.
Returns to the realm of nothing. Just
Yeah.
the word realm to me is a reference of something magical, something
Right.
unseen that has an internal power, and and we think of it as nothing because we can't step into it.
And this is the Tao they're expressing here, I think, because they say above it isn't bright, below it isn't dark, seamless,
Mhm.
unnameable. It returns to the realm of nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I mean, that's to me. I'm hearing a description of how I got the number 14.
Yeah, absolutely, right? You were just present, and there it was.
Yep. I mean, that's how I get a lot of my information. I'm like, all right, fine. Oh my God, give me a second.
Just leave me alone. I do too. No, that comes to me as well. Like I think the Tao of the Day like hit me years and years ago when I started, and I mean, like also when I started my portrait work back in 2000, it was literally me driving up to Wisconsin after a couple days after my last cocaine binge, and I was gifted with this vision of like, yes, you are going to do portraits of people. And here I am 20 some odd years later. It is the core of my practice, my healing practice.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Form that includes all forms, image without an image, subtle beyond all conception. And yeah, this is I was talking about how the art thing earlier. I was talking about when you reached out, like form that includes all forms, image without an image. That's like everything and nothing, subtle beyond all conception. Like you can't even see its movement, but it's always in motion.
Yeah, I mean, I call my guides my advisory board because
Yeah.
we focus mostly on business and I don't get any say about it. So, I mean, sometimes other stuff, but that's our big thing. But it reminds me of that. Just there's no. I didn't not a number of four. I didn't write the number 14. It didn't, suddenly no. It just was, you know,
It was
in
with you. Yeah, it
yeah,
was it was given to you. It was someone sent you a memo.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, whispered it in my ear, whatever it
Yep.
is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, my friends joke that it's like for me, it's like a newscaster. They're in my ear constantly.
Right. Yeah. Like your
Yeah,
producer just
but that's
fucking
what it
yelling
feels
at
like.
you.
And when we talk about intuition so much, in
Right.
a description of that almost.
I think I would love to connect with you and do a design a time to talk together on this on the platform and just like have a topic together.
Oh
So I'm going to put that out there, and we'll run it down eventually. But I'm going to continue this because I know your time is continuing to run out. Approach it, and there is no beginning. Follow it, and there is no end. And once again, when we talk about the Tao, we're talking about our life, right? If you try and step back and say, well, how far back does life go? And it's like you can always go further. It's like how many times can you cut up an hour? indefinitely. Like if you cut it in half and cut it in half again, eventually you can always cut whatever you have in half.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
true.
that's kind of how it goes. Like when you're going back to find life, well, you can always go further. You just have to go, it's not like it's going to have started somewhere. And if you follow it there's no end. I mean, maybe there's an end, but like there's life in other places. There must be. Like life is consciousness. It's existing all around us all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's where our knowing comes from the universal consciousness.
That's where our being comes from. And I only say that because it's like the next line is, you can't know it, but you can be it
Mm-hmm.
at ease in your own life.
That's so funny.
Just realize where you come from. This is the essence of wisdom.
It is so funny. Have you heard me end my wisdom call before?
What's that?
Have you heard me end my wisdom calls?
I don't think so.
Well, I do the same as my podcast. I say, keep it simple, be at ease with yourself, and allow intuition to light the path.
Oh, that is beautiful.
But the first one I picked for myself was simple. This one had ease in it.
Yeah. Wow. And then I love that this just ends with, this is the essence of wisdom. Because
Yeah.
I think what you and I are doing is the essence of what the Wisdom app was designed for.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
like being able to come on, I don't do you know anything about the Quakers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so like there is nothing better than a Quaker service or a Quaker meeting. I don't know what they call them. I'm not a Quaker, but I've gone to some of these. And have you? Are you familiar? I mean,
I'm a bit, probably
okay.
not quite as detailed as you, but
So so they sit in a circle and they sit quietly until somebody gets the urge, like you did with 14, to say something. And you would have just stood up and said 14 and then sat back down. Now people stand up and they say what they are inspired to say, and then they sit down. You do not respond to that. You do not, this isn't a discussion. This is in mutuality. We just stand and present what has come to us. And maybe you'll go an hour without saying anything. And the service ends when somebody stands up and walks out. And
nice. I guess I'm about to do that.
what's that?
I said I'm about to do that.
Well, I always love you. I just want to put that out there. Thank you.
Sending the love.
So, that was gorgeous. And Quakers, man, if you're out there, you're awesome. Like you have the best fucking things. Um, like like whatever. Like it's not that I'm touting any sort of religion. I don't know anything about the Quakers, but the Quakers, their service it's pretty impressive for me. I know I've been told by Quakers all the time, it is not meditation. This is not meditation. You are not meditating. And like there's a lot of rules around it, but you do what you want when you're in there, right? Like you are part of the whole. But I appreciate their approach of the silence. Man, Catherine, thank you. I'm going to reach out to you on some other social media, so because I can't chat with you here, but we'll be in touch and we'll set something up. Then this is coming up because on Sunday this week I will be at noon Central. I will be talking with Paul. I want to say Paul Pogba, but it's not Paul Pogba. It's Paul. Like he's one of the original beta testers, and he and I are going to have a conversation on here, and we're going to have a topic, and we're going to kind of talk about it. And that's why I want to keep putting that out there, especially to those of us who are here for beta testing, and and I think a lot of that is also part of this is the essence of wisdom. right? Whether or not that's what wisdom is going to be, this is the essence of how we understand wisdom. And we can, and it doesn't have to be wisdom, the app. This is how we can understand like our connection, because this is the connection that we made. And I really appreciate you coming on and giving me the note from your advisory board. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day, and keep the Tao with you. Once again, above it isn't bright, below it isn't dark. Seamless and unnameable, it returns to the realm of nothing. You can't know it, but you can be it, at ease in your own life. Just realize where you come from. This is the essence of wisdom. Just realize where you come from. This is the essence of wisdom. That's so beautiful, man. All right, well, everybody, get out there. You're the shit. You're awesome. Get out there and live your life as present as you can, because you're awesome to be around. So take that in. Once again, this is a Recover Yourself production. I'm Martin John, and until next time, keep recovering yourself.